Hi friends, remember me? It's been a couple weeks, almost 3 weeks since I've been here. Welcome back. Welcome back to my sunroom. My name is Barb. This is my 19th floss tube. Today is Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. I'd like to welcome you all here. Hello, if you're new, I'm glad you stumbled across me. I live just outside of Buffalo, New York, and I am a cross stitcher and a quilter. And I'm glad that you're here. To all my friends that have come back, hi, it's been a minute. It feels like for me, it's been forever. Thankfully, I've been very busy, and I'm always very appreciative of that. It really helps the mind and the body and the soul when you have some very fun things to do. So let me fill you in a little bit. As I said, gosh, my last video, according to my notes, was Thursday, May 29th. Now, what is it today? June 18th. So yeah, what are we, 3 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks tomorrow. So yes, a lot has been going on. We celebrated Memorial Day. We celebrated Father's Day. Our family alone, let's see, we had my oldest son's birthday was at the beginning of the month. Then after that, we had my son and daughter-in-law's wedding anniversary. Yesterday was another daughter-in-law's birthday. Today, we celebrated my youngest grandson and my oldest granddaughter. I have six grandkids. And the two, the youngest grandson and the oldest granddaughter both had graduation ceremonies this morning. So grandma went to one, and when that was done, quick ran over, gave him his gift, and then went to the other one. And you know what? I am so happy that I was able to be there for both of my grandchildren. There's nothing better. Well, you know, other than celebrating with the rest of the people in your family too, my children and that. I do have, my daughter's birthday is coming up next week. We had Father's Day this month. There was a lot going on in June. 4th of July is coming up. I know we're going to be just having a very small get-together on July 6th because, you know, the kids have other things that they're doing with other family, you know, with the spouses' families, and that's fine. You know, I as long as we can celebrate a little bit, that's going to be great. So, gosh, we're going to be coming into summer, technically summer for us, and it's always kind of sad because the summer solstice means the days are going to start getting shorter. We just got into summer. It is 78 degrees here with a feel of 90 degrees. My friends, this is my weather. I love this weather. I love the heat. I love the humidity. It doesn't do well for the hair, but you know what? So what, right? But I did turn on my AC, and I didn't turn it on for me because, to be very honest, I feel really claustrophobic when all of my windows and doors are closed. Now, I have 31 windows in this house. 3 main doors. It's a big home. I love it. I love my home. But to be in this house and have all of my windows closed shut, I'm like, ugh, it feels like winter, right? So, but I turned on the AC because the dogs were panting. I have English Labs. They're 100-pound dogs. You know, black coats. They were hot. I didn't turn it on for me. Didn't turn it on for the hubs. But anyway, it is comfortable in here, and I guess that's the most important thing, right? And from what I'm looking at our weather, which is just phenomenal for me, we're going to be in the high 70s and 80s for probably the next week. But depending on the humidity, then that's when I just shut the AC off and open up all the windows. Anyway, enough about the weather, okay? So, as I said, it's been a few weeks since I've sat and chatted with you here in my sunroom. So let me fill you in on some of the things that I've been doing. Now, I had talked about last month trying to get my whips in order because I don't know if you suffer from the same problem that I do, But when you sit down to stitch, you seem to gravitate to one design or two or three, or you're like, oh my God, I want to work on that. And then some of those older whips age even further. So what I did was I found a wheel. It's called the picker wheel. And I know I put the information in a previous video. And what I like about this is I do it by number, and I have all of my whips. Where's my book? Right here. I have all of my whips written in this book. Each one has its own page, but the first page has them all listed. So when I pull up the picker wheel, now I have 30 whips listed here. Some of them are already finished. So I have 6 that are check marked. Nope, 5 that are hang on, I need my glasses. I have 4 that are check marked done, and 2 that are crossed off with an X. That means they've gone to whip heaven. Okay, so when I use my picker wheel, when I put in my numbers, you know, up to 30, I can go back and eliminate some of the numbers, like some things that I've already worked on and those ones that are already finished. So that's what I like about this, is that I can pick from the current list that I have. So what I've done, and in, you know, looking at my book of days, now the last time we met was, you know, at the end of May. So, I don't want to do, yeah. So, I mean, you could see the end of my month was busy because I was using that picker wheel, and I liked it. I really do. And then I got to June, and, you know, my first week was good. And then you see a couple of days that say, I'm too tired, no stitching, right? Those are some of the long days. But then the week before Father's Day, I did no stitching. And because, the reason I did no stitching was because I had 21 memory bears to finish and 6 memory pillows to finish for clients for Father's Day. So I had a few orders. One of the orders was 14 bears, 14 memory bears. And, you know, everything got done. Everything was done and delivered and everything else. But when it gets down to crunch time, like before Mother's Day, before Father's Day, before Christmas, I want to focus on my client work, you know, because other days I can balance it out very well. But I focus on my client work because I don't want to, some of these orders were orders that I had promised, and then I, you know, came down with cancer, and we all know that whole story. So, so these are, some of these orders are a little bit older, and I definitely wanted to get them done and out. So I take that time to focus on my client things. Like if there's some other things that I need to get done at night, then I do it at night. Plus, you know, don't forget, I'm still working at the clinic. I still have to go to work at the clinic and babysit. And I am not complaining one bit. I love that I have the opportunity to still work part-time. It's a couple days a week, right? That I am able to babysit my grandchildren 2 to 3 days a week, sometimes 4. And when I can plan ahead for that, then I can take some of my work with me. I might have recruited 3 of the grandkids to help me stuff bears. And I mean, stuffing bears is the 3-year-old picking up some stuffing and going like this to it and scritching it like this and then sticking it in a bear. But she helped. And that was special. Anyway, let me show you what I have stitched. To me, it was quite a bit, as I said, because I was busy. One of the things that I did do, and I did it most often, was work on that crocheted Afghan. Now, I might have shown it quite a few videos back, and I have about 50 more rows to go to finish it. It is a corner to corner, so you actually start in the bottom right hand corner and you cross stitch, crochet on a diagonal. So I have already reached the point where the bottom left corner and the top right corner are done. So now I am working my way up to the top left hand corner. So I am decreasing, so every row is 2 stitches less. So my goal is to have it done by July 31st. I know when I started it, I figured it was going to take me about 6 months. So there are quite a few days that I was able to sit down and I said, you know what, I really want to get this Afghan done. I really want to give it to my granddaughter. She's 3.5. She likes it. She's already spilled my coffee on it. What else happened to it? It's got a couple mistakes in it because I can't count. Counting is hard, right? But anyway, she likes it because it has hearts and it's rainbow colors and it's really cute. And when I am done with it, I will definitely show you that. So I did do quite a bit of crochet. So let me start with the cross stitch pieces that I have worked on. Now one of them, and this is in no particular order, it just happened to be how I pulled them out of my bin to show you. So the first one, I had mentioned when I started this that a friend of mine, she's a quilting friend of mine, she said, you know what, I would like to learn how to cross stitch. Would you show me? Absolutely. Absolutely. So she purchased the pattern called the Button Tree, and I think she might have gotten it from 1-2-3 Stitch. I said, you know what? I'll get the pattern. It'll make it easier to teach that I'm doing the same pattern. So I purchased the PDF, so I really can't show you anything because it is, you know, I printed it off. But what I can show you is it is called the Button Tree, and it's by the Drawn Thread. So this is, you know, when I sat down with her the first day and showed her how to start and stuff like that, I was more concerned in watching how she was stitching than doing my own stitching. So I really put it off for a bit. But this is where I've gotten to now. I am using Pistachio by Fiber on a Whim. It is a 14-count Aida. And honestly, I just pulled my own floss. I think it does call for DMC, but one of the colors, I believe the blue spruce, oh actually the tree itself calls for blue spruce by Weeks Dye Works, and I didn't have that, so I pulled a DMC that was close to it. So this is as far as I've gotten. And then as you know, as I'm working down the tree, all of these areas here, like right here and here and here and here, all those little spaces, that's where you put buttons. You actually sew on buttons. And I have a lot of antique buttons. Once I finish this, I will see if I want to use white buttons, because that's actually what's on the pattern, was tiny white buttons, or if I might want to use gold or whatever, or beads. I don't know. We'll see what happens when I get to it, right? But this is where I am on the Button Tree by the Drawn Thread. I've stitched on this a couple of nights. What I was also doing with that picker wheel is if I sat down to stitch and I only got a little bit in, I actually, when I sat down to stitch again, I worked a little bit more. So this actually got 2 nights, which is fine. I have worked on my temperature Quaker, but it did get to the point where I was not falling behind, but I was trying to give myself like a week's worth of stitching to do, a week's worth of days to stitch, because some of the little pieces were only like 8 or 10 stitches. And, you know, sometimes setting up something that has a very minimal amount of stitches, you're just like, I don't want to do that right now. I'd rather, if I have 2 hours to stitch, I want to stitch on something for 2 hours, right? So what I ended up doing, now my temperature Quaker, you can do them in different ways, okay? Some people will take the average temperature for the day, some take the high, some do a mix of high and low. What I've done is taken the high temperature for West Seneca, New York, on the particular day. So when I check the almanac in my area, I write down the temperature, I write down the high and the low, and then I write down the number of floss. Now, I have, when I first set this up, I was doing a different temperature chart, and I really wasn't happy with it, and I've talked about that before in another video. So I believe there are 36, yes, I chose the color way 36 DMC floss. for my temperature chart because I really wanted it to be colorful. And there's a 32 and then there's a couple other, but I am using the temperature key that I used for another temperature chart that I was working on. So when it got to the point that I realized I had quite a few days that needed to be stitched, I kind of waited until the end of May. And I went back, and anything that had the same number, and because our temperature was fluctuating so much, and because I have a range of 36 colors, I had a good range of DMC floss that I was using. So anything that had a couple of days, like 742, right? May 29th and 30th, I would stitch those two together and then just kind of go back. So I technically have one more day of May's to stitch. And I have done none of June. I've written down the temperatures up through June 8th. So, and even looking at the numbers here, that first full week of June, I don't know if you can see it, the first full week of June, there's only 2 days that have the same color. So, and that's what I like about this, because this is going to be obviously a year-long project, right? And some of the days are going to have, because my temperature range is 2 to 3 degrees per day, so some are going to have the same colors. So I ended up advancing on my scroll here a little bit, and here's where I am. This is May right here. Okay, so you can see the difference from January, February, even though it's only some of it. March, we started having some nice days. April, we're like, oh, some warm days, some cold. And then this is May. Now, the reds are obviously the little bit hotter. Now, I do have one more to go, and it is going to go right there. And then that'll finish May. Now, this particular chart, it's called Temperature Quaker. It's by Stitchin Mommy, and I found it on Etsy. And as I said, you know, something like this, you can pretty much do if you chose to do the average temperature. It's great. Now, for May, what you would think is that it would go in, you know, a numerical, oh, I'm trying to do it that way, that it would go in, you know, a numerical sequence around and around and around. It really doesn't. Actually, May 1st was the top half of the border, and then May 2nd was the bottom half, and then the dates themselves were moved around on the inside. So if I ever sat down and said, oh, I wonder what the temperature was on June 4th, well, now I would have to pull out the pattern to actually go back and look to see when June 4th was specific on here. I'm apologizing for any construction noise that you're hearing. 1 second. No, you know what? No, we're good. We're good. What it is was back in January, if you were back with me that far back, you'll remember that they were taking our gas meters from inside the house and moving them outside. Well, they are just coming back now and repairing the lawn. There's a little bobcat driving by. They're just now coming back and repairing the lawn that they have dug up. Now, I had told my husband, I said, look, you need to fix the lawn proper from the house to the sidewalk. I said, because I don't want to look at that big pile of clumpy dirt. Now, for us here, being that I live on a corner, they dug me up in 3 spots. Right in the front of my house, on the side of my house, and then again by the street, because we must have a tie-in over there. So I asked my husband, I said, please fix from the house proper, and then let them worry about from the sidewalk to the street. And so that's what he did, and the grass is coming in beautifully, but now they're out there fixing that last bit. So if anything goes by, I apologize. Okay, moving on. Now, again, this is in no particular order. This is just basically how I pulled them out of my that cradle that I use to hold my whips. The next one I pulled out is the new Gobbletons, and this is by AuryTM. Now this is cute, but I'm running into a problem. Now, I purchased the pre-printed fabric for this, and I thought that I had centered this according to the picture. Now, one of two things happened. Either the printed fabric, when it was done initially, this was smaller, the design was smaller, or when they did do it, they imposed the stitching. I don't know, because if you look at the back of the pattern, those are just done on regular colors. So it's possible that they maybe have just taken this and superimposed it onto this to make it look like this. I don't know. Or if it was stitched on this, that's also a possibility. But I feel the piece that I bought, and this is a 14 count Aida, this is just ginormous. See this? There is so much space up here that I don't like this. Now, I've got him done, and I started working on her. She's over here. And as I said, when I laid this out, I looked at the pattern, and it looks like the design is actually at the bottom of the pumpkin. I said, okay, I'll do that. But then as I was going, I thought, holy cow, there is really a lot of space still left there. And I'm not too happy about that. So I'm really not sure what I'm going to do. I definitely, obviously, I don't want to cut it off like this, because that would look really silly. But I also don't want to frame something like this, right? So, I don't know. Do you have any suggestions? I thought about maybe taking out that one book that I have that has the different Quakers in it. And then I also have the one cross-stitch book that has the thousands of little tiny designs and stuff. I thought about maybe filling in with something or putting in some words, thankful, loving, Gobbletons, I don't know. But this, if I do it like this, I'm even going to lose some of the bottom, right? Because, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm going to have to fill this in at the top with something. I really am. Some type of stitching, but I'm going to finish working on her. There's really not that much. And of course, here's the other thing. I sat down to work on her, and I'm looking, I'm like, something's not right. Something's not right. I had made a mistake. I had made a mistake down here. And I had all this other stuff done. And I wouldn't be able to fudge it because I would have had to have mimicked. This gets mimicked over here and over here and up here. So I would have had to have mimicked the mistake, and everything would have been thrown off. So the night that I actually sat down to stitch on this, I unpicked. And then the second night I sat down to stitch, I actually accomplished some stitching. So that's the new Gobbletons by AuryTM. And I really do need to figure out what I would like to do with that, because it's just not, it's not meshing for me. I am using the called for DMC, and there's actually one of the DMCs in there that's almost like a variegated. It's really kind of cute. What is going on with this hair? Don't worry about it. It's all that humidity from being out today. The next piece that was called for on my little spinneroo, and something else that when I picked up, realized I had made a mistake, so I had to unpick. Jeez Louise, I am telling you. Pansy Patch Quilts. It's called Hope, Summer at Pansy Patch. This is the design. Not sure if I showed this on the last video, but this is what I also pulled. Worked on it a couple nights because, again, it's Pansy Patch. Because when I pulled it out to work on it, I saw the mistake. I don't know. I don't know at times. Now let me tell you what I am using. I am using the called for colors because I see the, I do see them in here. They are not DMC. They are Gentle Arts. Okay, so these are the ones that I've already used. I am using an Ada, I believe, here. Did I write it down? Nope. Oh my gosh, and then I wonder why I'm not sure what I'm doing. Good Lord. But here are the rest of the colors. Now it is a mix of Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, and Weeks. Very pretty colors. These are my colors. I love these colors. There is this really pretty, what is this one? This Antique Rose. Just love that. But it's going to look very nice on this. So this is where I am. I might have even been using the, can't believe I didn't write down the fabric. It's got to be written down somewhere. So, ooh, feels like my house is shaking. So here are the colors. And this is where I've gotten to. And I love it because of the churn dash block. And honestly, I'm at the point when I pulled this out after I fixed my mistake, I said, oh, it's just a fill-in. So it's really, I'm really now just filling in. And because I am using an overdyed fabric or overdyed floss, I am hopping around with where I am working my threads because I don't want that to be linear, you know. So I am trying to make sure that things are going to be blended in there nicely. And then if you look at the picture again, can I do this? Can I do all three at once? You can see that I'm at the house area there, the roof, and behind the churn dash block. So the only other thing I'm going to do with this, it says Hope. And I'm really, every time I pick this up and I look at this, I think I'm going to change it to say Home. Because I do know that on my pattern, I did try to chart out an M. And I have it situated there. So I think I'm going to have it say Home instead of Hope. Which is absolutely fine, right? We personalize it for ourselves. So I do enjoy this one. I was happy when it did come out because I was like, oh, I haven't stitched on that. And then after I fixed my mistake, my gosh, it seems like everything I picked up to work on for a certain amount of time, I realized I had made a mistake. So who knows? Who knows, right? What else did I work on? This one is, oh, Welcome All Hearts Home. Oh, I do enjoy this. I did make this bag. This is a Lori Holt fabric. Let's see here. I do have a mess. I do have a mess. I am using the called for colors on this. I made sure I turned my pattern over because I adjusted the camera and I don't want you to see the pattern. So right now I'm working with endive, but here are all the beautiful colors for this. I am working on 32 count, it says right here, Paper Bark by Fox and Rabbit. Let me take my pattern off of there. And I do have my project card in here, which is nice. I'm going to take it out of the plastic because it'll probably be glary. So, Welcome All Hearts Home by Plum Street. So pretty. So very pretty. And I really, really, really am trying to figure out how I can put the initials of all of my children, my daughters-in-law, and my grandchildren in here. And I'm really thinking, you know, I don't know. I don't know because, again, where is it? I am working on linen, so I'm not 100% sure just how I would get those little letters in there. And I do have, quite a few that I want to put in. And then I thought, well, do I want to, like, put them families together? Do I just want to sparse them around? I don't know. But that'll be, a decision for future, Barb. Now, I do have just a little bit done, but it is a pretty start in my estimation because I'm working right up in the corner here. This one I actually did start in the top left, and I will do the whole border, and then I'll come back and do the remainder. But I was very, very happy to have this to work on for a little bit because, again, it is just working with the one color, the endive, doing that border. And, you know, we know that when we're working with just one color, sometimes it goes a little bit faster, and sometimes that's just what we need. A little bit easy on the counting, you know, because it's one of those days. We don't have to keep messing around with colors. We're just going to kind of go and do what we got to do. Oh, this one. I know I've said this before. This is Home Sweet Home by Primrose Cottage. Now, back at Valentine's Day, gosh, back at Valentine's Day, I was pulling out all of my finished pieces, not my completed pieces, but my finished stitches. And I said, where is my Home Sweet Home? I've been stitching on it. Where did it go? Did it get mixed in with some quilting fabric downstairs? Who knows? Who knows? I said to myself, whatever, I'll find it. Well, I found it in timeout. I put her in timeout. I found her. Oh, Jesus. Honest to gosh. So this, which is supposed to be such a quick stitch, is still sitting here. Okay, Home Sweet Home by Primrose Cottage. Yes, I'm going to turn it into a pillow. But you know what? For some reason, she was just giving me agita. Okay? I'm using the blush linen. Now, I have said in the past that I prefer to stitch in hand. When I use linens, though, I will use a hoop. Now, this is not a Nerge, but I did get it from the website that most of us shop from. Begins with an A. And these were a bunch of different sizes. And I have said before, I don't care to work in a hoop. And, but I'm using it because I'm finding that the tension on my stitches is not as nice as I'd like it to be. And this is a small one, and you know, it's fine. It's fine. But I'm still working on this girl. I gave her a couple days of love, and she's got to be done soon. She really does. And I think part of the problem is because there's fiddly stitches, right? We get to the point that we got 1 or 2 stitches here or whatever, and we think we're going along, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, you filled in the whole space and you didn't leave the space for the window. And the window was only 2 stitches, and I'm not going to lie, I did it. I did that in one of the houses here. I can't remember which house, if it was the pink house or the blue house. I don't want this to fall, so I'm just going to hold it like this. I don't remember if it was this house or this house, but I stitched completely over where the windows were supposed to be, and then I just took the white floss and just went right over it. I said I didn't care. Who's going to look? I can't even see it that close. I'm not even sure. It looks like it might have been the pink. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. I just threw the windows in, right? So this is where she's at. Is that the, oh, that's the fabric. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Because, you know, sometimes I do roll my fabrics. So here she is. So I basically have a little bit more down in this corner because this is pretty much where the end is. Yeah, I have the end of the house, so I'm actually working. I know it's kind of hard because it's a smaller picture. I'm over here. So then all I have to do is put the home, gosh, it's going backwards, it's wicked here. I have to do the home sweet and then the hearts at the top. So that's where that's going to be. So It is on the blush that they call for, 32 count, I believe. Yes, 32 count blush. It's a very, very pale pink. It's very pretty. The colors some are Color and Cotton, and some are Classic Colorworks. Now, what I have noticed with some of the Primrose stitches lately, they're going with Color and Cotton. And, you know, not that I don't have a problem using that, but what I'm finding is I don't have those Color and Cotton threads, and now I've got to purchase the thread pack on top of the pattern and stuff. And I hate to say this, but there are some patterns that I would love to stitch, but I'm not going to buy the thread pack as well. Just let me get the pattern. And you know, there are times that I just want to take the pattern and I'll figure it out myself. Yeah. But you got to catch me on the right day. Now this one does not have a DMC conversion done for it. But again, it's something that, you know, you could possibly do on your own. What I do see with some of these smaller stitches, just like with the Heart and Hand ones, the Tiny Towns, you're taking so few stitches that sometimes it's really difficult to see the variation of the thread. So I take that into account too, that if it's a small area and I'm really not going to see the variation of the thread, I'm not going to get the overdyes, because again, this is a Valentine decoration that'll only be out for a few weeks in February. It's not something that I would keep out all of the time. So again, you know, we can look at our stitches as situational and try to figure out what is going to be the best method for us to stitch. And everything is shaking here. I don't know what they're doing. Oh, they've got the bobcat, and it looks like they're picking up dirt off of the street or sweeping the street. Yeah, they're pretty much sweeping the street with the bobcat. Doesn't seem to make any sense. So again, if you hear all that rumbling outside, I'm sorry. But I've already started this video 4 times. I'm not doing it again. Anyway. So my last stitch that I worked on is Chester's Place. And I do love this stitch. Every time I pick it up, I'm just so I'm just so happy that I have it. And it is by Whistle Stop Designs. It is quite a few years old now. I know it was put together as a fundraiser, actually 2021. So it was put together for a fundraiser for Chester, and I believe Chester was a kitty cat. And a fundraiser for, I want to say, dental work, something health related for this particular pet. Now I am using DMC for this. And there is a DMC conversion. Make sure I don't have the pattern on here. It does call for Weeks Dye Works, Classic Colorworks, Gentle Arts, but there is a DMC conversion, and I chose to do the DMC conversion. And I am using, this is from Hobby House, and it is an 18 count Rustico Ada by Zweigart. And I do love, ooh, it's crinkly, isn't it? I'm sorry. Let me just put that right back in the bag here. So let me show you where I am with Chester's Place. Now, one of the things that I do want to do on this particular stitch is change the animals to dogs. And I want to, because originally there's like horse and all these other things on there. I want to honor my labs. Now I'm on my 7th lab. Oh, let's just take a real quick break. My puppy Chet, the 2-year-old, just earned his Canine Good Citizen Award. So Wiskoy's Mighty Fortress is now a CGC dog, 1st level. There's 2 more levels to go. I'm not going to get my hopes up yet. But he just got his AKC certification for that in the mail. So what I want to do on Chester's Place is put my labs at the bottom. Now I have 7 total. I started with Cherry. She was a black lab. Snickers was a yellow lab, and they're all English. So Cherry, then Snickers. Abby was given to me. She was a black lab. Moses was given to me. Moses was actually my first male dog. So there was Moses. He was a black lab. Then I got Maisie, my yellow lab, as a puppy. She passed at 7. I still, right? So I got Maisie. Then Pip. Pip is 10. I have Pip here. And then I have Chet. Chet is now 2. So I will put dogs along the bottom here. Well, you can't see that now, can you? I will put dogs along the bottom. So where I am on my Chester's place is I'm filling in the house. You see that? That's where I am. And I love this. I love this piece. I'm very happy when I can sit down and stitch it. So I am doing, let me just pull the picture out again. Did I pull it? Did I put it back? I did put it back. So sorry. So, let's see. I love the little quilt stars on here. I love the flowers. So I don't know where my little clippies are. I am like in this section of the house over here. So I will still have to do the roof, the chimneys, and inside the windows, inside the door, and then the dogs. So, I mean, I probably have 25% more to go. But in looking at this, it really looks like a lot of it is, you know, the windows inside the windows will be all fill in. The roof, once I get the outline, but the roof looks like it's 2 separate colors. I'm gonna have to look at that. But it's not going to be that difficult once I set it up the way I need to have it set. So that is Chester's place. And I'm really hoping that I can have that done this year. Now, when I look at my whips and how I've been using the picker wheel, with the number of whips that I have, it almost looks like I won't be able to touch things but once every, 3 months, right? The way I looked at it before is I have 5 days out of the month where I can stitch. So I have, I work 2 nights, right? So that leaves me with 5 more. One of those nights is definitely my Afghan night. Another night is definitely my temperature quilt night. So that leaves me with 3 nights, not temperature quilt, temperature stitch, temperature Quaker stitch. So that leaves me with 3 nights to do my picker wheel. So if I have 30 whips and 3 nights to stitch, you know, that's 10 weeks. So that's almost 3 months, depending on, you know, if I'm stitching every week. And last week, or the week, you know, coming up to Father's Day, I stitched nothing, right? So I'm hoping that when I'm sitting down to stitch, I'm making the best use of my time. Now, normally when I sit down to stitch, I will watch YouTube. I will watch different floss tubers. But friends, I have fallen down the rabbit hole of watching Hoarders. Oh my gosh. I don't know why. I don't know why. I used to watch it when I actually had TV and Hoarders was on. I used to watch it all the time. And now I sit there and I think, I look around my house, and trust me, I don't have that type of a situation. But I got stuff. I got stuff. I have sewing stuff. I have quilting stuff. I have cross stitch stuff. I have tchotchkes, right? And I think, dude, I have no business buying anything else. Do we all say that? I think we do. So then after I get done watching Hoarders, I buy something. Why? Because then I watch Flosstube and I'm enabled. No. I just watched Welcome Stitchery with Justine and Shelley. Welcome Stitchery is a shop out in Blue Earth, Minnesota. You have to watch them. Justine has got the best laugh, right? And Shelly, they have been friends. I think they are lifelong friends. And they're just a delight. And I love when they come on and then, you know, of course I'm giggling and I'm watching and I'm getting enabled. Well, let me tell you what I was enabled with the other day. And I saw Shelly post about this before or show this on the video before, and I thought, oh my God. Now, again, when I sit down and I watch Flosstube, I make myself notes, right? Look for these things. Look for these things. I have pages of notes. Look for these things. This is why I'm enabled. Because you people tell me to buy stuff. So, Shelly, oh gosh, if you haven't seen it, please go back and look. It's their most recent video. I don't know the number, but it is their most recent. They generally do a video like maybe every couple months. Sometimes they get really busy, but it's called the Rose Quaker. Now, I love roses. Love roses. Currently, I have 61 rose bushes here. A couple weekends ago, the weekend before Father's Day weekend, you know, my husband had said to me, what would you like for Mother's Day? Roses. I said, I want to take my side entrance, because I have 3 entrances to my house, front, side, and back. Again, I live on a corner, right? I want to take my side entrance and make a walkway of roses. And he just looked at me and shook his head. I said, I want a walkway of roses. So he dug that up for me. I did have 2 rose bushes at the end of my walkway where my sidewalk and walkway meet. I said, nope. Right to the side door. So I put in that particular weekend, the weekend before Father's Day, 8 rose bushes there, and then 2 more out in my gardens. So I have 61 rose bushes. I need 4 more. My goal is to have as many roses as I am old. You do the math. So when I saw this, that Shelly showed this, and then Justine said, but I don't know if I can get the pattern anymore. I was like, oh, put the brakes on. I went down that rabbit hole, right? I started digging and digging and digging. Yeah, I found the pattern. Somebody wanted $51 for it. I said, no. So I ended up going to the pattern website. Now, I believe this is German. And this is why Justine isn't sure if she's going to be able to get the patterns again. She had said that she emailed them, but she finally got a response. Well, when I went to the website and I found the pattern, you could buy the paper pattern or you could buy the PDF. The PDF was $1 cheaper. I'll tell you, it was $23. In my estimation, that's still a lot of money for a pattern. But, right? So I said, well, I will bite the bullet and buy the PDF. If something happens, and I'll give it a week's time, because it even said, you know, we will have the pattern to you, a personalized pattern to you within a reasonable amount of time. I don't know if they said 3 to 4 business days, whatever. They might have said something like that. And I thought, well, I'll give it the time. I'll give it a week. And if something happens that it doesn't come up, I'll just contact my credit card company and say, hey, I purchased this. I still haven't received it. It was supposed to be sent via email, blah, blah, blah. I had it in 2 days. 2 days. I watched Justine and Shelly that night, ordered the pattern the next day, which was probably, maybe it was Sunday, maybe it was last week Sunday. I'm not even sure. Could have been Saturday, could have been Sunday. I had the pattern by this week. It is called Rose Quaker. This is the pattern. It is beautiful. I'm guessing it's German, and they personalized it by, you know, by putting my name on here. For Barbara, personal use only. I mean, you can read my name. I don't care. It's on there. But I'm going to bring this really close because you'll see it looks like it's Stickideen van der Wiehenburg. Now that's a very Polish girl. Polish-Irish girl trying to speak German. Okay. If you can see it there, I will also put it in the notes below. They sent me the PDF, and it's quite a few pages because when I printed it off, it prints it small. So I'm not sure how I'm going to work this. I probably will print off a second copy and keep, use it as a working copy. But it calls for DMC. It calls for it to be stitched on linen. Here, maybe this will help. Let me go this way and see if I can show you more this way. This is maybe a little bit closer of a title for you. And this pattern is from 2009, actually. Maybe that's more helpful if this is something you're interested in. You can read the Rose Quaker Sampler. So it's done in DMC. It calls for linen using 2 strands, and it says it gives you the amount of meters that you need. So, because it's in DMC, that's something I'm sure most of us have at least one of almost every color. Probably a lot easier to get. But anyway, 28 count or 30 count linen. I am looking at this for my 2026 start. I will have this kitted. I can't begin to express how beautiful to me this really is. Now, I see alphabet letters in here. It does have the alphabet, and I believe I'm going to take these the letters here, and again, you can see them in how they're just all over the place. They're not in alphabetical order. But I'm going to take them and do my family. This is another way that I can incorporate my children's initials, my daughters-in-law, my grandchildren, and work it out that way. So the lettering for me, I know already, the lettering for me will be the last thing I do. I can say that I will start in the upper left-hand corner with this pattern and work my way across and then down. But it is, I believe it's meant to be. This pattern was meant for me to be able to find. I love roses. I love purple roses, are my most favorite. I am enamored. I wish I could figure out how to insert pictures, but you know what I think I'm going to do at the end here? At the very end of this video, I'm going to pause and I'm going to take you out to my side rose garden and just give you a little bit of a view, because I would love to share that with you. Just a little bit of the view of my roses. And I do stop and smell the roses every day. Okay, so that was one thing that I bought. Didn't mean to go out about that, but it really means a lot to me. I also bought the Sewing Tomato by Erin Elizabeth. A little bit of glare. There we go. I have not figured out how I want to stitch this. I think she's really super cute. It looks really cute. I'm guessing it looks almost like it's done on a box, because right here in the corners, oh, you can't see that. That's glared. Right in the corners, you can see almost like hinges. So I don't know what this is done on. Honestly, I didn't really look into it that much. I saw the pattern floating around and somebody influenced me to buy it. It is stitched using DMC. And there is some backstitch on here. It's stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha linen. So, and it looks like it's on the modeled side. So I think it's, I think it's really cute. I honestly, as I said, I have not investigated as to what this is mounted on, because somebody influenced me. Thank you. So I did get the Sewing Tomato. And then the last item that I purchased that has not arrived yet. I'll mention it, but I'll show it when it does come in. If you are a member of the Homespun Needlework group on Facebook, not the current exclusive. The current exclusive is a Stacy Nash exclusive. The one before was, hang on, the Heartstring Samplery exclusive. And I did purchase that because you know who influenced me? Oh gosh, I see her face. She has a floss tube. She has a quilt tube. She influenced me. Gosh, what is her name? Isn't that crazy? You write these things down. You know you've watched them. You know their names. And then when it actually comes up, you forget who they are. I'm actually going back through my notes to see where I have watched her before, because I'm pretty sure I have mentioned her. I know I watched Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot. I have a couple of episodes of Brenda and Laura to catch up on. Oh my gosh. I am really sad that I cannot remember off the top of my head. I can see her face. And like I said, she's got a cross stitch, and she also has a quilting YouTube. But anyway, okay, so we're not going to go that far back now. So that's who I was influenced by. But I was going to get the Heartstring Samplery exclusive, and then I thought, no, I just was at retreat with them and blah, blah, blah. And then I saw it and I went, oh my God, I had FOMO. So I ordered it. I know it's on its way because I have gotten a notification that it is coming. So what else did I watch? Well, I told you I watched a bunch of episodes of Hoarders. I did watch some of our other floss tubers. I just put my book down and forgot where I put it here. Yeah, Justine and Shelley, Hoarders. Stitch Roadies. I knew it would come to me. I knew it would come to me. I watched Stitch Roadie, and she was the one that influenced me to buy Heartstring Samplery. My gosh. What I have noticed is that if I am downstairs working with my client orders, I cannot watch Flosstube, because then I get sidetracked, and then I sit there and I watch Flosstube and I don't get work done. So even though I am, down in the quilt studio and working, it doesn't work out very well for me. I get sidetracked by all the shiny things, and then I go buy things. So the problem with sitting there at night and stitching or whatever, or even working on client orders and watching things that I'm not interested in, like Hoarders. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I end up having dreams. I have dreams about these hoarder situations. It's ridiculous. So, but I do have quite a few notes of things that I have said to myself, oh, we need to sit down and see if, we are still interested in making these purchases. But I did say that I wanted to control some of my spending, because when I was at Hobby House back in April, I did purchase a lot of fabrics, and I did do a video of just my Hobby House purchases. And I always find it's a lot better for me to touch the fabric and look at it and see the color. And, I did want to bring in some color into my stitching. I didn't get too much because, again, some of the things that I am stitching are more looking like they need to be done on, like Country Mocha, things like that. But holiday stitching for 4th of July or for fall or Christmas, those I don't mind doing on color pieces. So again, just trying to see what I had there and kit up some of those things. And I promised myself that I wasn't going to do any kitting up of anything until I finished a few more whips. And now that I've gotten a good portion of my client orders done, I still have some quilts that I'm quilting, and I have quite a few quilts that still need to be quilted. and other things like that. But my evenings are back to being my evenings for stitching. So, not tonight though, because I have to work. So, I am going to leave you here. I'm sure that this is enough. How long have I gone already? Oh my God, it's an hour. I haven't seen you in a while. I missed you. So I am going to leave you here. I would like to thank, there's a couple of individuals that have reached out to me via email asking how my last appointment was at Roswell, that they were thinking of me. Everything went very well. I do have another follow-up next month. I didn't realize that Roswell is our Roswell Comprehensive Cancer Institute here, if you're unfamiliar. And they do want to follow up every 3 months for 2 years to make sure things are okay. I have an oncologist. I have the breast surgeon. I have a therapist if I need it. I did speak to him a couple times. It was very, very helpful. I have a nutritionist. I asked for a nutritionist. I said, I need somebody to just bounce some ideas off of. And they gave that to me as well. And that's, when you say comprehensive, it is. So everything is going up and up and up and beautiful. And I'm very thankful and grateful and appreciative of everybody that has made comments or sent me private messages about, thinking of me and stuff like that. So, with that being said, what is this? The middle of June already. Like I said, this week alone, we had, anniversary, birthday, 2 graduations. I have another birthday. My daughter's birthday is next week. 4th of July is coming up. And then it's just, actually on my husband's side this weekend, we have a christening. And then unfortunately, we had a loss on his side of the family. So we are going to say goodbye to her this weekend. So, but other than that, beautiful sunny days, gardening. I have my sweet potatoes in. My strawberries are, every day I'm out there picking a couple more strawberries. But my sweet potatoes have gotten into the ground. So we'll see how that goes when we get to the fall. So tomatoes are in, peppers are in, roses are blooming. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say a very, very deep and heartfelt thank you. If you are here, if you've stayed this long, if you comment, if you send me an email, even if you just like the video or tell your friends. I know I like to talk a lot. I don't do a lot of fancy stitching. I'm very down to earth and, I'm scatterbrained. I'm just your average grandma, which I'm absolutely loving. I know that there are some stitchers that just stitch these gorgeous, phenomenal, beautiful things. And I said to my stitchy friend Cindy, I'm like, ooh, sometimes I get intimidated because they just do such a beautiful job. And here I am with my stuff. But you know what? We are all beautiful stitchers. And we are all able to appreciate the beauty that comes from our stitching and everybody else's stitching. We are encouraging to one another. We are helpful. We are kind. We are compassionate, and we are caring. And we are a loving bunch, women and men. And I am so glad that you are a part of my cross-stitch circle. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to take you outside, and I'm just going to show you a little bit of my roses, and I hope you enjoy them. With that, I'm going to say bye here, but hang on if you want to see some of my roses. Until next time, bye friends.